Hello.
It's always so hard to know exactly like that moment when we're live, and we have to be very well behaved in like the approximate 30 seconds
We
before.
can't say anything.
We're not allowed to talk, which is very difficult for me because I'm very wiggly and very excited and just talking over here. So we are live now. This is exciting.
Woohoo.
This is like our little technique party.
It is. I'm excited. I love technique.
I secretly love technique too, but I didn't always love technique.
Same. And the reason why I like it now is because of the benefits. But when you first learn about it, you're just like, it's just a group of notes.
It's
Why?
like, it was like the worst part of my practices when I was taking piano lessons. So I actually be really curious. Before we start like diving into techniques, I just, like, how is everybody doing today?
Yeah.
It's a morning time where we are. And Sam got to the coffee machine before I did, so I've only had one coffee, which is ideal because more than one coffee for me is a little bit.
This is my first one, and I will probably have a second today.
So Sam is allowed to have it. So he won the coffee contest. He has the coffee. It's morning here. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. Like, these little live events are one of my favorite things about my job.
They're very fun.
So we are going to be talking about technique today. Obviously, that is our theme. Because we've decided to make it like a technique month, Pianote, which is important. But we'll also be answering your questions. So we'll be live for about an hour. We're going to give you all kinds of great like tips and tricks and ideas for how to be amazing at piano technique. And then we're going to open it up to a Q&A. We'll answer your questions. If you want us to sing a song or two or play a song or two for you, we always love to do that at the end of our streams.
I love that. It's fun.
So type in your questions in the chat, and we've got our friend Truman hanging out here doing the chat with us, and he's gonna take some of the questions and make sure that we are able to answer them. So it's all good.
I'm excited. Yeah.
So here's my question for you guys right out the gates. What are your thoughts on technique? Do you love it or do you not love it?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I think we've kind of talked about ours. I love it now. Used to not. So I think there's a bit of a learning curve there, especially for me. And I just remember feeling very frustrated with finger positioning and finger numbers and where do I put my hands, and that was the worst part.
It was the worst part. For me, it was the boring part of practice. Like, I just wanted to play songs, but I would always have to practice my skills and stuff first, and I would get really bored, and I didn't understand why it was so important. You know, the teachers, I don't know, when I was learning, never said to me, like, in order to play the songs you love so well and amazingly and with ease and confidence, you know, your scales will help you do that. Nobody ever said that. They just said practice your technique.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the longest, like, so when you were in your practice routine, Sam, what was the longest period of time that you would practice your technique for, like, in your daily routine?
Ooh. There's actually two answers to this. When I first started, I would do 15 minutes
Okay.
at the start of every practice.
Okay.
Now that I went through music school and all that, technique was kind of the tool.
The pillar.
Yeah, so I would probably practice maybe an hour or two a day. But
Of technique only.
Of technique only,
Yeah.
and that was tough to get used to, and definitely extreme to the point of almost insanity. So
I would say so.
yeah, it was not a good time. But I did learn a lot, and I did get the dependence and the finger strength that I was hoping for, and I'm very comfortable on the keyboard now. So it's definitely paid off, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah, I would say it's probably about an hour a day for when I was doing my exams. And what I do know from that time is that I've never felt more like comfortable at home and at ease at the piano than when I was doing that hour a day. Not to say that you guys will have to practice your technique for an hour every day.
No.
But there are seasons where you're like more in the game and seasons where you're not. And what Stang just said, I'm more of an improvisational learner. And I love that wording, an improvisational learner. And that's what we're going to be diving into today as we explore some technique stuff, because so am I. And when I figured out how to practice technique in a way that really connected to like my songs and very musically, then it was super fun and I loved it, and it never became a problem. So there you go.
Boom.
And yes, my hairs are growing day by day. It's time for a haircut. Okay, so let's do some technique stuff.
Okay, sweet.
So, okay, this is like the first thing. That was kind of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's just a scale, my friends. Okay, scales. I think we should start there.
Let's start there.
Scales are like maybe Sam and I have different favorite technique elements. Mine is scales, and I'm gonna let Sam talk about his after this. But scales are my most favorite part of technique because They're like ingredients. And ingredients to create beautiful music. And so if I play a G scale, so if you guys are sitting at your pianos, you can, we're just gonna take a minute and play a G major scale. So a G major scale, I'll wait till I get back to the bottom, uses a G, A, B, and then we can tuck our thumb under, C, D, E, and then we have an F sharp in G major.
Ooh.
It's kind of a wild card. And then a G. So when I was learning scales, I was supposed to practice my left hand and my right hand and hands together. And that was the end of scale practice. So I don't know about you guys, but once you've kind of mastered this form, it can be like boring, which is kind of how I felt. And you can go faster. That's fun. But again, there comes a point where you're like, okay, why am I doing this? So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something cool. And then we're going to talk about how the scale helped me do it. So I'm going to go to a G position with my left hand, and I'm just playing G and D. And this is like my little rhythm section, I guess. And then with my right hand, I'm just going to play a scale. Okay, immediately it's like, oh, well, that's pretty. Unless you hate how that sounded, you're entitled to your opinions. And then I'm going to move my left hand again. I'm still using notes from the G scale, but this time I'm going to use E and B. Then I'm going to move my left hand to C. And then I move it to D. And, right?
That's cool.
All of a sudden we have something really musical. So I was practicing my scale. I was practicing my hand independence because doing two different things at once is kind of challenging. But putting it together, now I've got something that sounds really musical, feels really fun, feels like a new, fresh challenge, and it's just way better than just a standard scale.
Standard.
So all of my technique practice when I sit down on the piano is based off of that scale. So I pick a scale or key signature. They kind of, could you use those words interchangeably, Sam? Scale and key signature?
Yes, but the key signature is what makes the scale sound the way it is. So they're not interchangeable, but they are very similar.
So I'll pick a key signature. I'll pick G. And then that becomes what is my template. So in the key of G, I know my ingredients. The notes that are guaranteed to sound amazing are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G.
Boom.
Ta-da. And then I work with a chord progression. If you give every scale tone like a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you can move your hand. There's the 1, right? I'm just always remembering the ingredients I have available to me. So if I'm playing 1, 2, 3, if I want to play a chord on the 3, and I want to play a 5th, right? I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that in the G scale, the F has to be sharp because that's part of the genetic makeup of the scale.
There you go.
Right? So these ingredients tell me what is going to sound good. And you don't have to play the scale tones in order. So that's where that improvisational learning comes into play. So the moral of this story, of our first story, is learn the thing, do it properly, and then get creative.
Yep.
And that's where the magic begins to happen. And that's where you really begin to develop yourself as a musician. And something as simple and basic as scales can be magical.
Totally.
So my next favorite scale thing is the diatonic chords.
Cool.
So, okay, what part of your learning journey were you at when your teacher taught you about diatonic chords, Sam?
Diatonic chords?
Yeah.
I learned about them in university.
Okay.
I didn't actually learn them with a private instructor.
Okay, so this, in my opinion, I'm gonna go to my soapbox here, is the biggest mistake in traditional piano lessons ever made.
And there it is.
My soapbox?
Yes.
My rant. Okay, because nobody taught me about the diatonic chords either, and they've changed my entire life. I've gone from being able to, read the notes and have to really struggle through things to figure it out, to understanding the diatonic chords, and then I can just suddenly play anything.
Yep.
Almost, kind of. So I'm going to tell you what they are because that name sounds really boring and lame. But chords are what songs are made up of.
Yep.
That's what this is. I'm just using chords. But how did I know which chords were going to sound good together? The diatonic chords. So remember how we talked about our G major scale and the ingredients? If you take your hand and just build a chord, so you're gonna, it's like a claw. We're gonna use our thumb and our third finger and our 5 finger. That's a chord. And then you just move that shape up the scale and build a chord on every single scale tone, remembering to use the correct ingredients. You get the diatonic chords. Of that scale. Ta-da.
That easy.
It's that easy. So then you can just pick any of those chords, mix them and match them, and see what your ear likes. That's the 3. That's the 4. That's the 1.
Love it.
Oh, I really like that one too. That feels like how maybe I'd like end a song. And then maybe I want to go 1, 5, 6, 4.
The classic.
Every pop song ever written. Do we have chordy? Oh, okay. So if you guys are in the chat and you're like, what is she playing? Don't worry, we're working on it. We're gonna try to get that up for you as soon as we possibly can. So stand by. Sometimes chordy just gives us grief. And we can also just restart the piano, Christy, if we need to. So let me know if that's not a problem.
Okay, no problem.
Because I can just tell some like of my great jokes while we reboot it.
There are some pretty good jokes.
I don't think I've ever said a good joke, have I?
No,
Do I have jokes?
They're funny in an ironic way.
Oh, because that joke about the jokes was a joke. Should we
Yes.
start it?
Can you just try playing?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Keep telling jokes.
I'll keep telling jokes. I can totally keep telling jokes. Usually we do need to reboot the piano when the chordy goes.
Yeah,
After
I
the
just
way I-
reset Cody and it's
It's
still shit.
hates us. Okay. Okay, so we are going to, I think here's what we'll do. Okay, I was on a rant about diatonic chords.
You were,
I was
yes.
on.
The soapbox was still in use.
I was still on the soapbox. Okay. So, oh, and don't worry, we are going to talk to you about how to practice inversions. And Rosh, if you want to hear Lost Boy, we can put that on the list. Truman, can you put Lost Boy on the list for something that we can play a little bit at the end? And I don't know the Freya Riding song, but I could definitely listen to that and do some looking at that. So that will be pretty cool. Right hand techniques, left hand techniques, we can go through all of that. So maybe let's just take a moment to talk about like what you should be practicing when you're doing your practice routine.
Good idea.
I think that is like one of the most, it can be kind of challenging to know like what does a all-encompassing practice routine actually include when you're looking at your technique. I'm gonna reboot the piano. It's okay. Oh, did you like my song that I
I
just
did, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it too. So technique practice. So technique practice, like I said, I always like to start with my scale, but then you should also try to include your chord inversions, which Sam's gonna talk about. Because surprise, surprise, what's your favorite part of technique, Sam?
Chord inversions.
Yeah, so he's gonna talk about those. Yep. And then arpeggios. Some of our most popular videos here on YouTube are arpeggio videos. They're so beautiful. You can make so many beautiful like song templates with them.
Yep.
And then the diatonic chords, which is the thing that nobody ever taught me, which I feel very passionate about as you have learned. Because if you practice all of those things, there's really, I don't think anything, there's nothing you can't do. Yeah. You then have all of the power for all of the things. Yep. Can I reboot Christy?
Yeah.
Okay. You have the power for all of the things. I know this looks like a beautiful acoustic grand, but it's electric.
It's electric, yeah.
Okay, so let's review. Scale, triads, arpeggios, diatonic chords. If you can practice those things, you're gonna have all the tools you need to play any song. Now, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you have to get all of that into one practice. And you absolutely do not. You can...
I'm just resetting the computer. Give me like 1 minute.
Awesome. You can... Where was I going? I got lost.
You have the power with the chord diatonic chords and such.
To do all the things.
Yes.
Can you guys tell that I have like a squirrel, like
Well,
squirrel?
well, sometimes for me, I always get caught off guard because I'm listening, but then if I'm doing something, you're like, where was I? I was like, huh?
I don't know. I ask Sam that question a lot. Was I talking about Sam?
Oh, yeah, all good.
You don't have to practice it all in one practice. If you're anything like me and you have a shorter attention span, it's going to be too much to practice all those things in one sitting. So if that's the case, my suggestion is that you simply pick 1 to 2 technique items that you work on into your practice routine each day. So my recommendation, if you can, is 5 practice days a week. And then if you can get those 5 days, it depends on how much time you have. You could spend anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes to, I don't know, like we said earlier, an hour if you really wanted to.
Or 2.
I know some people who really love playing their scales. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever picked up another instrument? We're just gonna answer a couple questions.
I have, yeah. I love.
Sam's annoying, he can play everything.
I love it. I started guitar when I was 11, and that kind of opened the door for bass and a bunch of other stuff. And then drums, I'm learning from our good friends on the other side of the studio.
The Drumeo friends!
Yes, and yeah, I like exploring and seeing what fits and what doesn't, because theory applies to all instruments, and that's what I found out.
Oh, that's kind of
magical.
magical.
Really cool.
Some people would say that piano theory, like if you learn your theory on the piano, it's like the easiest.
Yeah, I think visually it's a lot easier to see than guitar or bass or drums, because drums don't really have pitch, so it's hard to learn that way.
different.
But with piano, it's really nice to just be able to sit there and hear exactly what's being taught to you. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
I would agree with that. So we are working very hard to get you the little keyboard on the screen. But while I'm going to finish off my chat on diatonic chords, and then Sam's going to tie it all together.
Okay.
So, because I feel like, again, the traditional approach to practicing chord inversions can be kind of boring. So if you learn your diatonic chords, and then you take some time to kind of build out what sounds best to you. So maybe today, let's pick a chord progression based on the diatonic chords. Do you have a preference, Sam?
Let's go 1 to start.
That's going to be my G, because we're in the key of G.
Okay, so then we're going to go 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, that's C.
Now let's go 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's E minor.
And the last one is going to be the 5 chord.
D.
Perfect.
So we've got G. What do we do next?
4.
C.
And then
6.
And then 5. Yeah.
And then 5. Okay, so that's our chord progression. So what we're gonna do with that is I'm gonna move over and Sam's gonna talk to you about chord inversions, and he's gonna use that chord progression to show you guys how you can creatively practice your chords in a way that won't be boring.
Okay.
Okay, are you
Let's
ready?
switch.
Are you ready to switch
Yeah.
switcheroo?
Okay, right. 1, 2, 3.
Musical chairs!
Okay. So here we are. I'm at the piano, and my computer's gone. No, it's okay. That's hers. So with chord inversions, okay.
Why are they your favorite?
They're my favorite because they're just so useful, and they're really good tools to use in songs, especially when you're trying to make it sound just a little bit different than the recording, or if you need to match the recording and it doesn't sound exactly the same when you're playing with those just 1, 3, 5 triad, right? You want to make sure that you have other options. So with inversions, okay, I'm just going to explain it quickly here with our G chord, okay? We have G, B, and D as our notes. Okay? If I was to invert this or switch up the pattern a little bit, right? All I would have to do is take my bottom note, that G note, and put it on to the top of the chord. Okay? So what this does is it creates a different sound using the same notes, which is really cool, and like songs use it all the time. So there's the triad, and then we bounce up. You hear that?
Same chord,
That G's a little higher.
different order.
What have I done here? Well, I've just taken that bottom note from the first inversion that I've done and moved it up to the top and made a second inversion. And then doing that again, bringing that bottom note, D, up to the top, back to the root. So all of these inversions together will sound like this. That root position, that G bounces up to the top, and then we're going to take that B note and go up again for the second inversion, and then finally that triad sound. So if you add the left hand and just play that 1 and 5 that we talked about before, just G and D, it's going to sound like this. 2, and this is first inversion, and second inversion, and back to the root on the top, go back down, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. So when you use inversions, all you have to remember, okay, is to take the bottom note, flip it up to the top, And then once you have that position, that's your first movement, right? First inversion. Then you take that next bottom note, flip it up, second inversion, right? You get where I'm going with this? Every time you move, it's first inversion, second inversion, and then you have to be careful. When you get back to that evenly spaced chord, that's where you have your triad. So yeah, it's really easy to look at it, but to try and use it in a song is a lot more challenging. I remember when I first started learning about inversions and trying to use them in pop songs, it was just like, there's so many options, what do I use?
I know, that was my frustration too. Well, my first thing is I didn't realize that you could, first of all, didn't even know you could use inversions in a pop song at all. So that was like mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was cool.
So because our progression, so we've got 1, so in root position it would sound like 1, and then 4, yes.
And then 6,
Yes.
and then 5.
Yes.
Perfect. So we have that F sharp we have to really watch for in this one because that 5 chord has
It has the,
that
yes.
F sharp. So when we are using this inversion, I'm going to take this G chord, okay? I'm going to start it down 1 inversion. So taking that D note, flipping it down this time, and going here.
So you're still playing a G chord,
Yep.
but you're just in a different position. You're in a different shape.
There it is. So now D on the bottom. I'm going to find my next chord, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 chord.
It's going to be the C major. So this was our 4. So this chord here, right, G major in second inversion, we're just going to find the easiest way to get from this chord to this chord, the C major.
So we have C, E, G to work with.
Yeah. There's that C. I flipped it up, and now it's actually in a really cool spot. I don't have to move very much. There's G major, second inversion. There's C major, first inversion. Okay? So, again, G major, we dropped it down to the second inversion. And then we need to find that C major chord. There's C. We're going to flip that bottom note up, get our first inversion, and we're just going to bounce in between that. Now, our next chord, what was it? It was the
6.
Right, there we go. So we have E as our 6th note. So we have E, G, and B to work with.
Yes.
So let's bring that back down to where we were before, right in the middle of the piano. And this is actually in a really good spot compared to where we were last time. Remember, this was our G chord, right? We have D, G, and B. Hey, we've got the chordy.
We got chordy!
Woohoo!
Yay! It's back! Ta-da! Thank you,
Nice.
Christine!
Awesome. We have the best teams here. Okay.
We really do.
So, I'm just going to go backwards a little bit just to make sure everyone can see what I'm doing now. So, G major, right? We have our triad. We're going to flip this down, that top note down to make it a second inversion G chord. Now, our next chord in the progression was the 4 chord in G, which is going to be our C major chord, but we don't want to play it there. It's a little bit challenging to jump that far, so we're going to play it here. Okay, so C major, we're bringing our C note up, and we're playing it up here. So now, G major, second inversion, C major, first inversion. There it is. So, bum, bum. And now our next chord, it was the 6, which means that we have to go to our E chord, right? E, G, and B. We're going to play it right here because it's nice and centered. It's really close to where we were before. That's it. So G major, C major, E minor, and now we have one more chord, which is our 5 chord,
D.
D major.
I think root position.
The root position. That's
Yeah.
going to be the easiest way. So E minor, D major. So we have D, F sharp, and A. Okay. So out of this, I'm going to play it all in order, and I'm going to add some left hand, just 1 and 5.
It's gonna sound so pretty.
And I'm going to move. Actually, I'm not even going to move it. I'm just going to keep it on the G and the D and just kind of rock back and forth.
Rocking fifths, man. It's where it's at.
Woohoo. And I'm going to take these inversions and just play around with them and see if I can come up with anything really cool. So let's see how that sounds. So with the 1, the 4, the 6, and the 5. So here we go. This is G, and now we have the 4, so we're going to go.
Ooh, that sounds so pretty.
It does. Now the 6, remember we're staying right here. That sounds kind of weird.
Dissonant,
but it's
crunchy.
okay. and then D major.
I like that one.
I like that one too. So now what I'm going to do with my left hand is instead of just playing that same note, G and D, right? I'm going to move around and follow my 1, 4, 6, 5 progression. And I'm going to build these rocking fifths on each one. So let's hear how that sounds. Yeah, words. Let's hear how that sounds.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. So here's the G. Now we're going to go to the C. Ah. Now E minor, remember we're staying nice and close. We're going to move up for this one with our left hand. And now you can get really creative with some rhythms. So inversions are so useful, and they're not that hard to think about, right? You're just taking a note and flipping it up and changing the order of the chord, but practicing them is a little bit more challenging. So that's where I really like practicing my chord inversions, because it gets me used to that idea, and it visually allows me to see what I can use in each key using the same key signature.
So back again to traditional piano lessons where you were told to practice your triad inversions, but never shown how you could apply those to a chord progression.
Nothing. It was always just
bam, bam. And that's, man, that gets so boring so fast. And it doesn't feel like it's getting you anywhere. So one of the things that we teach inside piano that is one of my favorite things is these little sort of chord shortcut progressions. So we give a chord progression and then we'll teach 3 or 4 ways to move through it using inversions. And so we have some of these set up like boot camps where you can just kind of play along, and it helps you to integrate like how to move through. And it's a really great way to kind of encourage yourself to practice those chord inversions, because sometimes you need a little encouragement. So that's really cool. And how to add extra chords in songs is simply to go back to that diatonic chords exercise, because those are the chords that are going to sound good. I Told You So by Randy Travis, like it's told you so, but you, is that the one?
Yeah, but you had to go.
Sherman, can you put I Told You So on the list? I actually know that song. I can sing a little bit of it. Random.
Cool.
Okay, use inversions in the left hand also. Yeah, because it can create some nice fills.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, so while we're talking about chords, before we move on to the next thing, can you just mention a passing chord?
Mention a passing chord.
Is that too big of a topic?
No, that's okay. I'll try and keep it.
We could maybe just do a
wheelhouse.
passing note.
How about we use one of the diatonic chords as the passing chord?
That's a win-win.
Cool. So we're going to use the diatonic chord. What we're talking about here is taking a chord and moving to a new chord using that chord. So if I am at the 4, right, or let's start with 1. I'm at my 1 chord, okay, and I want to get to my 6, okay, my 6 chord. Well, what am I going to do? Well, I can go down, right, because 1, 7, 6, right, that could be a way to do it. So if I'm in G, so I'm going to go G.
That was pretty.
Really cool. So all I did was I kept that same shape. I used my diatonic key signature, which is F sharp, and I played a really crunchy chord there, and then landed on the 6. So this is a passing chord. Passing chord, now I'm at my 6, okay? You can also do this with any other position. So let's go with C, okay? I want to get to my 6 chord again. Okay, so we're at the 4 chord here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, with C. We want to get to our 6 chord, which is E minor. So I'm going to start there. So C major, D major, E minor. So now my chord progression will sound like this. Using inversions, G major, C major, D major, E minor, and then D major. So it's really cool because we add this extra motion in there, and it gives the song a totally new feeling. Yeah, so that can be a really cool tool to use. my best advice here is to write out your chord symbols. So G major, D major, E minor, C major, and mix them around and try and find the notes in between some of those bigger gaps to use those as your transition chords or your passing chords. And that will really liven up your chord progressions just a little bit.
So if you practice your scale,
Mm-hmm.
technique, if you practice your triad inversions, technique, and you practice your diatonic chords, technique, you're going to be able to play songs.
Yes.
Pardon me. I just got real excited about the songs.
Yes.
Oh dear. Okay. So what I wanted to do now is I wanted to pivot.
Oh.
I'm going to trade spots with you.
Okay.
I'm going to... Here, actually, let's do this. Do you know Lost Boy?
Yep.
Okay, you just play it. I'm gonna sing it. You
Okay.
guys watch Sam's hands for a minute. We're just gonna do a little chunk of the song because I want to show you how, like, everything Sam's doing playing the song is just technique. I picked a different key for this one because it's so low.
That's okay. This is actually going to be in the key of D major,
Okay.
I believe.
Yes.
I'm just going to check my...
I concur.
Yep. Okay. Cool. I just wanted to make sure I'm giving the right information. I wouldn't want to be
So
misleading.
Sam, have you ever played this song before?
I have heard it, but I have never played it.
So Sam has never played this song. All he's doing is looking at a chord chart. The skills that he is using to play the song are all skills he developed practicing his.
Technique.
All right, here we go.
Cool. So D major. We have F sharp and C sharp, okay? Let's do this.
And just play fancy. Just do you. Oh, last if I can remember. There was a time when I was alone, nowhere to go and no place to call home. My only friend was the man in the moon. Even sometimes he would go away too. Then one night as I closed my eyes, I saw a shadow flying high. He came to me with the sweetest smile and told me he wanted to talk for a while. He said, Peter Pan, that's what they call me.
Oh, promise that
You'll
you'll
never be lonely ever since that day.
Okay, now we're in the
Basically.
chorus.
Oh, see, mine goes they're on it. Okay.
I am a lost boy from Neverland.
Usually hanging out with Peter Pan. When we're bored, we play in the woods. Always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me. Away from all of reality. We can stop it there.
Yeah.
But did you see all the fancy stuff Sam was doing? Technique. Technique, my friends.
That's
so
it.
I just wanted to take a moment. That's what happens when you perform a song you haven't ever performed before. I don't think I've sung that song in like 5 years.
Yeah, I haven't heard that song in a long time.
No, it's been so long. Okay, so technique, 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 technique. Okay, let's do something fun with arpeggios. I'm gonna
Okay.
switch spots with you because
Sounds good.
I want to play some arpeggios.
Oh.
Where are we going? I don't
way.
even know.
We should really get better at musical chairs. Maybe that could be a training process
A
for
training,
us. We could
like-
just play musical chairs.
What is it? Isn't that a... Okay, yes.
It's a game,
I was
but-
going to say it's a game. I know it's a game because we're just called musical chairs,
I
which is
worded
a
it as
game.
training because it's more fun when they say it's training. But
It's
it's
not
a
more
game.
fun when you say training, Sam. I just splashed myself.
Yep. We both were drinking at the same time. I just realized, so that was
So
funny.
awkward. Oh my gosh. Okay, arpeggios. So traditional arpeggio practice uses arpeggios, obviously. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you use the chord tones. I'm just deciding to play a D major chord for some reason. That's what I'm going to go with. So you just use the 3 notes that belong to the D major triad, and you use your 1, 2, 3 for the first 3 notes, and then you tuck your thumb under if you want to keep going, reset your hand, and then you can work your way back down. And that's all fine and dandy, and you can do that all day long. I like to use the pedal because it makes sound, wow, forgot a word there, makes it sound pretty. but that gets boring really fast. So what I like to do is, again, I wonder if you guys can guess. Chord progression. Oh, my arpeggios are terrible. So if you just practice your arpeggios on a chord progression, you're instantly having a more musical experience. Plus, you're developing the skills to move around quickly, those quick transitions. And that's such an important element of technique. And so the other thing I like to do is work with a 1 octave arpeggio. So, what am I guess I'm in the key of D right now. Let's back it up to the scale, Lisa, so that you make sense. Earlier we spoke about how the scale gives you the ingredients. The D major scale has an F sharp and a C sharp. Everything else is a white key. So if you keep that in mind and you play a 1 octave arpeggio pattern and just roll through it like this, use your right hand to pick any note from the D major scale.
Ooh.
Whoa, pretty. Now I'm gonna move, because I know my diatonic chords, to the 4. And then this kind of reminding me of like Ed Sheeran.
Mm-hmm.
I found a girl,
There you go.
beautiful and sweet. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at, I'm using my chord inversions too. Wow, chord inversions and arpeggios. We fell in love. Ooh, a little trick there. So again, it's just all technique. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna answer some questions.
I love it.
Before we get to our questions, I just wanted to take a moment for a shameless plug, because
plug.
we are celebrating our technique focus this month at Pianote. We have a pack called Piano Technique Made Easy, and it's basically 12 levels. Each level is a key signature, so it covers all the key signatures. And the pack walks you through step by step how to play the major scales, the minor scales, the triads, the arpeggios, and each of the levels ends with a chord progression that uses the diatonic chord, so you can integrate what you've learned into like a really musical way. And it's an amazing pack, and there are practice alongs, so you can like practice and hear it and play with it. There's PDFs with all the fingering and all the scales that you can download. It is pretty much all the technique information you will ever need to be able to do these things. And so it's normally $120, but we have it on for $36 right now.
What?
Yeah, so it's a really, really good deal if you want some support and some guidance as you develop out your technical skills. So $36, and then you have it for your entire life. We also do a 90-day money-back guarantee. So if you buy it and you don't absolutely love it, you can just ask for your money back. So that's pretty straightforward.
There it is.
So we have that. It also comes with, like if you want to have like a full membership with all the things, it is included with the yearly membership.
Yes.
For free too. So it's amazing. So let's just, okay, here, Sam, you want to ask the questions?
Sure, I will ask the questions.
I need another sip of water.
Okay.
Okay.
So as you sip your water, I will read out this question.
Well, that was a question about the water. Never mind.
Oh. No. Hello, I have a question. How did you find your passion for the piano?
Ooh, who's this question from?
This is,
Do we know?
it doesn't say. It says Q&A time.
Okay, so I found my passion for the piano, I probably like listening to, it didn't start with the piano for me. Shocking, dun dun dun. It started with music in general. So my family was very musical, and on like holidays and occasions, people would be playing the guitar and the piano and the violin, and we'd all be singing, and I loved that. And then I loved musicals. I remember listening to, we had like a record, because that's how old I am, in my house.
I have a record player in my house.
Okay, well,
That's okay.
thanks. It was before CDs, for sure. And it was the sound of music, and I would sing along with Julie Andrews, and it just made me so happy. Did you sing along with Julie
Of course.
Andrews?
What song is your favorite on that album?
It's so hard to say. Like, I really love the sound of music, obviously, but Edelweiss.
Yes, Edelweiss was good. I liked the goat one.
Oh,
Yeah.
So this is where I fell in love with music, and then the piano just seemed like such an accessible way to express myself musically. So I started to beg for lessons, and then suddenly a piano appeared in the house, and then a few weeks later, my mom put me in piano lessons, and I immediately hated them. But she wouldn't let me quit. So the rest is history. Here I am. I'm so glad I stuck with it all those years. I think the secret piece when it comes to your instrument and passion is like the space between that. So you have to stay grounded and connected to your passion, because you're not always going to want to practice. You will want to quit. You will want to give up. You will get discouraged. But if you're really connected to that passion, it will always carry you through those times of discouragement and keep you playing.
Love it.
Okay, next question.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. I want to know when you discovered your passion.
Ooh. Well, it's interesting for me because I played piano for a long time. Again, similar story. I started when I was very young. My mother placed me in piano lessons, and it was just kind of the thing that was always there. Just because it's in the background, I would always have to practice and always do the things. And I'll be honest, some days I just didn't want to. It was tiring and tedious, but it was, I think, one of the days I was just like, wait a minute, like, I've been doing this through everything. Like, why am I not focusing on this? And then that's kind of where my passion started, and I started to really push
You had
into.
like a wake-up moment.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm still doing this even after all these years. Like, why?
Why am I doing
Yeah, and it was more of, oh, wait a minute, I like this. So it was a bit of a surprise for me, and then that's when I decided to really pursue music in school, and then after that,
here you are.
Here I am. So yeah, that's kind of where mine blossomed from.
I like that.
Yeah.
Test another one. More questions.
More questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, another reason? I was like, oh,
It's a good thing I did not have that second cup of coffee.
it's all good. I'm awake now. I'm feeling good.
I told you I'd wake you up.
Yeah, that's true. So Anoop, this is a question from Anoop, and it is, what is the worst song you have ever played on the piano?
Oh my goodness, I don't even know, because all songs are beautiful. No, they're not. I feel like it exists in like about a grade 4 Royal Conservatory book in like the modern, those are the ones I hated.
Yeah.
List, is that list C?
I think so.
The end of the book.
Yes.
I hated those songs so much. Also, there was a song in one of the Alfred's books, because that was the only way to learn when I was a kid. Calypso Holiday, I think it was called. And it was the introduction to syncopation. And I remember crying and crying. I would, like, real tears. I think I threw the book on the floor. I cried, I tantrumed, I swore I was going to quit because the syncopation was hard. So that's my story. What about you?
The worst song again, like, for me, there's no bad songs.
There's no bad song.
There is no bad song, but there are challenging songs, and I think that's where the hate comes from.
There are songs that are not pleasing to your ears.
Why can't I do this? And you get frustrated and angry. There's definitely been some jazz songs that I played in school that were very challenging and very rhythmically dense.
They made you question your passion.
Yes, and they made me question why I was doing things. But once I got it, it was like, this is so fun. Like, I love this. But at the time learning, it was just
not ideal.
not ideal. And I think some of the List C songs too, there was definitely some dubious ones in there for
Did
sure.
you say dubious?
I said dubious. I think
Is
I meant
dubious
to say,
a word?
I meant to say dubious, but I said dubious. That's funny.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, let's have one
Yes.
more. Let's have one more.
Oh, one more.
But we'll
Okay.
go to more, but we
Yes.
got to do some other things
So,
for my attention span.
This is Rosh. Can't seem to coordinate my hands. How can I improve it?
Yeah, that's tricky. So I like to start with, I'm using this term loosely, simple hand independence exercises, because that is that an oxymoron? There's no such thing as simple hand independence? Is
Yeah,
that the right word?
maybe.
Because if you're practicing a hand independent skill and it's easy, then it's not the right exercise for you, because when you're developing hand independence, it should always be a challenge. So the first one I like to start with is just a 5-note scale. And I like to play one hand staccato and the other hand legato. So pretend like right now I'm pretending that the keys are really hot, whoa, hello, with my left hand, and really sticky with my right hand. And then, hand independence moment, switch, rolls. And that I just did effortlessly because I've practiced it about 2 billion times. The first little while I would totally fail. So that's a simple way that you can practice developing your hand independence and coordinating your hands. So when we talk about coordinating our hands, it's usually about hand independence because this hand is playing something different than this hand. And you can also explore that 5-note scale with rhythm. So I'm going to do just straight up quarter notes in my left, and I think I'm going to play 8th notes in my right. Yes, that's what I'm doing, isn't it?
Yep.
Sometimes I
It's
See, I
to,
talked.
It's hard to do when you're talking. Yeah.
Pay attention, Lisa. I switched. Yay me! That was really hard.
That's tough.
It's so hard
That's
to
tough
do.
to do.
I'm so proud of myself right now. So that's just a simple way that you can work on developing independence between your hands so that when you do have to coordinate them, it's a little easier. And then my other little thing for coordinating the hands is I don't know, maybe this is crazy, but I just like imagine that my hands are kind of heavy. Sometimes when I'm playing, I get too fast or I get disconnected and I start to tense and my shoulders rise. But when I stay relaxed and I allow my hands just to have like a bit more of a weight to them, it's like I'm grounding and connecting to the keys a lot more efficiently, and then suddenly things just start to work together a little better.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the tension is everything. So
Did you say tension?
tension is bad. You have to make
Tension
sure that
is bad.
Yeah.
Shake it out. Do some piano yoga first.
Yes, stretch. We're just stretching now.
Yeah, we're stretching. We're taking a little stretch
Ooh.
break. Whoa, you cracked.
I cracked.
What is happening?
My arm just
I
went
was stealing my computer. I keep taking my glasses off because they're so dirty that I can hardly see out of them.
I should have cleaned mine too. They're bit dirty.
I'm just looking at all the.
Other questions?
Yeah. I'm just looking
There's
at them.
So many questions. Thank you for
so
being
ma-
here. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's been a lot of fun. We're still going, and it's good. It's great.
Yes,
I
it
wanna
is
keep
great.
going.
I can play by ear. I'm gonna play by ear for you right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna play a song by ear.
What song?
I don't know yet. I'm looking at the song requests.
The song by ear? I've never heard
The
of that
song-
artist.
You're so funny. You're the funniest.
Music jokes.
I hardly know any of these songs on the request list. You
Well,
guys
that's
have to
good.
send more requests because I don't know. Oh, because I'm learning how to play by ear. Oh, okay. Okay, let's do Lost Without You by Freya Ridings. Lost
okay.
Without You.
You can plug it into your...
Plug it in, plug it in. Was it Glade? Freya.
I have no idea.
I'm losing my mind. Okay, I've never heard this song before.
Other one. Other side.
Does this even have a thing?
Yep. The thing.
Okay. Okay, well, I better pause the thing. No. I gotta pause the thing so that.
Aha, yes. So we keep up with our chats and our videos, but sometimes the volume's on.
Yes.
And then we hear ourselves. We're like, where are we coming from?
And it gets a little awkward. Oh, we're getting an ad right now. Okay, so here's my process. I'm gonna listen to the song I've never heard, just the first little bit of it. Then I'm going to find a chord chart and try to play it using just the chords. So while we're listening, sometimes these music videos have very long intros. Oh, okay, this is called.
Standing on the platform, watching you go.
Maybe I'll try without the chord chart.
Maybe.
It's like no other pain
Pop chords.
I've ever known.
Ooh, sharp key.
To love someone
Uh-oh.
of no control.
What key is this?
It's a very tough one.
You said I wanna see the world,
Yep.
and I said go.
Okay.
What's that last chord? Do, 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 do.
Hold on.
There it is.
This is F sharp major, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
So the 6. No?
Let's listen to it again.
Do-do-do-do.
Do.
No.
No.
Minor 3 maybe?
I think so. Do.
Darn it, I'm looking. Sam, do you know?
I think it's the minor 3.
The minor 3, but why am I having such a hard time playing the minor 3? Because I don't ever practice F sharp major scale. That's why. Gosh. Capo on the 6. So I just Googled the chord chart. I am super cheating right now. G sharp minor, it's the minor 2.
Minor 2. Ah, shoot.
Oh, we should have known better.
Yeah.
And then B is the 1, 2,
That's a tough key.
the 4. That is like the hardest key ever. So, okay. That's how you figure out a song by ear. You cheat.
But what's important is you know
How to cheat?
how to cheat with the scales, right? You're using the F sharp major scale to build these chords. Yes, you are cheating a little bit with the chord symbols, but it is okay because sometimes you just need to. to figure it out.
It does. Okay, so this circles us back to technique. So if this girl was practicing her F sharp major scales, which I avoid like the plague. That term is more relevant these days, isn't it? So we are playing F sharp major. If I had known that, I would have been able to much more quickly pick out the chords that were in that song. But the first thing I did was kind of listen to Freya singing it. Do-do-do-do-do. And I used my ear and mistakes. Mistakes are our guides. They guide us to the right notes. The wrong notes guide us to the right ones. So rule number 1 of playing songs by ear, do not be afraid of mistakes. You have just seen me make many of them in a row. Do, 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 do. And then I used those notes to try to build out a chord. And then I discovered it was in F sharp that way. And then I kind of figured it out. So now I could kind of play it. Standing on the platform, watching you go. I don't know the song, but kind of gives you an idea.
Yeah,
So there's that.
that's awesome.
How's everybody doing?
I think everyone's doing okay. They're laughing about how you're teaching everyone how to cheat.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We'll have to make an entire lesson pack on
How
cheating.
to cheat your way through learning songs.
Yeah.
I played at church a lot. That's actually where the transition from playing from like classical traditional into chording happened. I was only playing in classical settings, and then one day one of the music leaders at church was like, "Oh, we're gonna make a youth band, and you can play the piano. Here's a chord chart." And he just gave me this chord chart, and he's like, "Just play chords. You see the chord, just play the chord." And I was like, "Okay." Like a triad, because we didn't call them chords in classical lessons. I was like, "You mean a triad?" He's like, "Yes, a triad." So that's what I did.
Come on.
And that's where everything started to come together. And I was like, why? So I had all of these years and years of telling my teacher, I want to learn to play this pop song. I want to learn to play this Spice Girls song. And she'd be like, well, you have to get the music and read the notes. You don't. I'm coming back to cheating again, aren't I? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're gonna reframe this. What's a word other than cheating we could use?
Alternative learning.
It sounds like, yes, we could do that one. What about creative?
Creative exploration.
Yeah, let's do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got lost again what I was talking about.
You were talking about playing at church and
Oh,
the
yeah.
triad and the chords.
To try it in the chords. That's how that all came together. I feel like there was something else.
Okay.
Singing and playing. I have to not look at the chat because I get started on answering a question and then I see another question. I just want to answer
Well,
them all.
there's a bunch that we have here.
Okay, I'll go back
that
to the list.
the Truman's been.
Can you help me stay?
I can. Yes. Okay.
I'm so thankful for you, Sam.
Well, thanks, Lise. That's very nice. Okay. We did that one. What's your favorite song to play? From Roy Doe.
Okay, I have a favorite song. Do you have a favorite song?
I do have a favorite.
What's your favorite song to play?
My
Because
favorite
I'm gonna
song.
ask you to play it. So before you answer that, think about if you can play it.
Oh.
A snippet of your favorite song.
Okay.
That's gonna change your answer a little
It
bit.
is. A song by Train.
Train.
Yeah.
Drops of Jupiter.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Bow,
I really like that
bow,
song.
bow.
I haven't played that in so long though.
That's
Oh my
okay because
goodness.
we are honest, real people here that are not perfect. I can never get the timing of this one.
Yeah.
I love that little sus roll there.
Yeah, yeah. And then she's back in the atmosphere. Drops of Jupiter in
her hair.
Yeah, it's just so epic. Yeah, it's just the four chords.
There's room to grow. It's really a fun song, actually.
It is.
And then you can do that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, tell me, right? That's a fun little moment. Milky Way and see the lights all fading.
Heaven is overrated. Oh, this has been a while. Tell me, independent, no, was it everything you wanted to find?
Did you miss me while you are looking for yourself out
And
there?
this part is my favorite. Yeah. Yeah, that's my my favorite part at the chorus when they
just go for it. And
Yeah.
Truman's typing in the words for us. It's a great song.
Oh, thank you. That's funny. La 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 la
La la la la la la la
Yeah.
la.
What's your favorite song to play, Elise?
It's much less exciting than this one, but it's Joni Mitchell.
Oh.
Always Joni Mitchell. I have a fun story about this one, about an epic disaster. What song is this, guys? Wow. You think I could play my favorite song?
Same.
Just before our love got lost, he said, I am as constant as a northern star. And you said, constantly in the darkness, where's that at? If you want me, I'll be in the bar. On the back of a cartoon coaster, in the blue TV screen light, I drew a map of Canada, oh Canada, with your name sketched on it twice. You're in my blood like holy wine. You taste so bitter and you taste so sweet. Oh, I could drink a case of you, and still be on my feet. Oh, I'd still be on my feet. There's a little piece of Joni. It's my absolute favorite song to play on the piano.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So my fun, sad story about this song is I had like the most epic stage embarrassment moment because I went to play it at like this year-end thing at a vocal studio that I used to work at, and I went to sing it for everybody. I wasn't planning on performing it, and I sat down to play it. Gone. I started to play the song, but I started to play it in the wrong key, so I couldn't find my vocal line, and I'd never played it in the key that I decided to play it in that moment. So it was very confusing. I got lost, and one of my students was like, Lise, you're in the wrong key. She's incredible. She's incredible at the piano, and she had the pitch that allowed her to like hear. She would be able to be like, "You're playing an F chord." So she was like, "Play this chord," and then I was able to pull myself together. But it was so embarrassing. It's my sad story.
That's so sad.
Okay, what else we got, Sam? Oh,
Oh, that's the piano.
Sam, looking at the things again.
I'm going to move away from
Some
that.
people have suggested it's possible I have ADD.
Possible.
It's a possibility.
It's okay.
It's been neither confirmed nor denied.
It means you're very creative.
Thank
Okay.
you, Sam.
This is from Callie.
Okay. Hello, Callie.
What's a good technique to get through learning a song without it being repetitive and without getting discouraged to learn it? That's we've kind of talked about that a little bit, but I think there's like specific things that we could really nail here.
I think it kind of depends on like how you're learning. Like if you're using sheet music, then it's different than if you're playing like from a chord chart, I think, or learning by ear. But with sheet music, I always like to work in. Can you guys hear my stomach? It's growling so loud right now. Fun fact, I eat like every 3 hours and it's past my second breakfast.
It is. I was thinking about that as we got
Lisa
to
missed her
9:30.
second breakfast. So did Christy. We're all starving to death here. So pick like 2 bars, maybe 4, and just make it as simple as you can. Simplify your approach to the point that you're like, this is so easy. So that might mean you just play the right hand by itself, and then just the left hand, and then you put it together slowly. And then just be real with yourself. We all make mistakes, and when you're learning, you're learning. Learning isn't playing. Practicing isn't playing. Practice is the work. It's the effort. It's the grind. And it will be challenging, and you will feel like, can I even do this? But you put that time in, and it begins to translate into playing. And playing is where the magic happens. So if you're working on a song that doesn't allow you to get to that magical place of playing, then make sure you find a song that you can use in your practices where you're like, I can play this like a boss. I'm so amazing. And then go back to the hard one and do the work. That's my advice.
Yep. I 100% agree.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing to add.
Sam and I are agreeing on this.
What?
Sometimes we have different opinions,
Sometimes.
but only sometimes.
Yeah.
We
Could you
have time
please?
for sorry.
Oh, do we have time for more?
We have time for like 2 more questions, and then
Ooh, okay.
I think we're gonna end with you doing. We could do our little jazzy song that we do, because
could,
then you
yeah.
play the beautiful jazz chords.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I'm into that.
Okay.
Okay, let's do that.
But what's our question?
Our question is, oh, that's way too far. can you please tell me ways to reduce left hand tension and maintain control while you are playing?
We have some great news for you. You don't know this yet? Can we say this on YouTube?
I don't know if we can say this on
I'm gonna say it anyways.
Oh my goodness, this is exciting.
I know. We're releasing a new pack in Pianote
What?
called Destupefy Your Left Hand.
What?
And we haven't told anybody about it yet, except for our Pianote members. They know about it. It's coming at them on Wednesday?
I believe so.
On the 15th?
Yeah.
And then, so that's just another reason you should become a Pianote member. Because we have a whole course. There's so many lessons on exactly that. How to release tension, play with accuracy, play with strength, and just have an awesome left hand. What's your favorite left hand exercise, Sam? I think you should show it.
Okay.
Bam, bam, bam.
So
Throw it to Sam.
my left hand exercise that I go to the most, I use octaves a lot. So I try to avoid keeping my hand separate with exercising. Instead, I want to work on the finger precision. So Hannons are great exercises for your left hand just because there are so many notes to pay attention to. I can't remember what Hannon number this is, but
It's one of the Hannons.
it's one of them. And then I'm just skipping over one with my fourth finger. And it's really giving me that individual finger workout to get up and down that scale. And then back down. Make sure that I'm staying relaxed.
Stay relaxed, Sam. Are you staying relaxed?
Yep, I am. So that left hand, are you staying relaxed? Huh? Are you staying relaxed? Ah! So this left hand exercise is really cool because it develops that independence with each individual finger. And I can tell you that these two fingers, the pinky and the fourth finger, are going to be the hardest.
They're connected differently, aren't they?
Yep, the tendons in your hands, you have 3 individual tendons for your thumb, your second, and your third. But your fourth and your fifth finger are actually attached together. That's why when you move your fourth finger and your fifth finger, they can kind of move together, and it's a little bit annoying sometimes when you're trying to play them all individually because your pinky kind of wants to follow your fourth finger and vice versa. So just make sure you go slowly, practice each individual motion, and get that each finger moving as independently as possible while maintaining your proper hand posture. So yeah, it's lots of stuff. Everything you can practice here is in technique. Pianote made easy.
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun, and there's tons of exercises like this.
Because she also, I forgot to say, so Cassie teaches it because
Yeah.
she's so good at technique.
She is very
so
good at
she's taught the
technique.
course, and she has included warm-ups for every single one of
Yes.
the levels too, so you'll learn lots of those.
Yeah.
Oh, it's growling again. It's yelling at me. Okay, what did I want to tell you? Oh, somebody asked how often we go live.
Oh,
We go live on YouTube just occasionally.
yeah.
But we go live for our members a few times a week.
Yes.
So if you like this, we go live for our members every Thursday at 2 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time.
And every Wednesday now with student reviews. Those are fun. And then we also do
More student reviews.
More student reviews on Thursdays and Q&As. So yeah.
So our Q&As are just like this, but our members all submit their questions to us. They can submit in advance or during the chat, and we get to all of the questions. And we demonstrate parts of songs, and it's a really, really great way to learn and just engage with the community as well. I think that's my favorite part. Our live lessons are the most fun. Our members, oh my goodness, the best ever. So supportive, so lovely. And then our student reviews, our members or students, they send in video of them playing. And then we watch the video,
Yeah.
we provide feedback, we give suggestions, and then we go live and we show what to do.
Exactly.
So basically it's like having a piano teacher, but for
Yeah.
way less money.
And you don't have to leave your house. That's
You
great.
don't have to, you could stay in your pajamas 24/7 and learn to play the piano. We gotcha.
That sounds like the dream.
It is
honestly.
the dream. It is the dream. Membership options are at pianote.com. So we've got yearly memberships on sale right now. We have Piano Technique Made Easy included in the yearly membership for free. Or you can buy it, what did I say? It was like $36, something so cheap.
Yeah, something.
It's on crazy sale.
Super-
Yeah, $36. And then you get just that Piano Technique Made Easy bundle. So that doesn't include all the live lessons, but it does include all the lessons on how to do all the technique things.
Yes.
Which is pretty incredible.
It is.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
We have time for two more questions here?
I guess we could probably do that, even though I'm starving to death. I love you guys so much that I want to stay and
Yeah.
answer more questions, more than I want to go eat my second breakfast.
There you go.
You don't know how serious this is.
That's a very big statement.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Okay.
You can pick
Oh,
that too. Oh, I heard that one.
I know.
It's thundering outside.
Yeah.
What do we got? What we got
There's
for
just so
questions?
many good ones. I can't pick them.
Okay, just randomly pick one.
Okay, fine. What's your favorite chord?
My favorite chord?
What is that, Sam?
E flat 6.
Why is that your favorite chord?
I don't know, it just sounds nice. Or this one, A flat sus 2. That's a good one too. Actually, let's do that one. I like that one. Just it sounds like a big warm
Oh,
hug.
that sounds. You're right, Sam. That does sound like a hug. Okay, I'm giving you this.
Okay, thank
Can you find that jazz song that we sang together? Was it "Dream a Little Dream of Me"?
It was that one
Was it Paper
or
Moon?
Paper Moon
Paper
or
Moon.
When You Wish Upon a Star.
I want to do. Oh, but that "When You Wish" is too sad. It makes me cry. It's too emotional.
Okay.
Paper Moon. No, is that the one? Yes. It's
Yes.
only a paper moon.
Can
Can we do Paper Moon as our like goodbye song to you guys? But before, while Sam's looking for it, Muhammad was asking, my right fingers have problems due to working too much with the mouse, and when I play the piano, it hurts a lot at night when I sleep. It's probably tendonitis or carpal tunnel or something like that.
Well, yeah.
You should probably go talk to like somebody.
See a medical professional
But what
there.
I do to help with that is I place my finger of my one hand inside the palm of the other hand, and I push forward. And it is the best stretch in the whole wide world. Do it really gently so that you don't hurt yourself, and then flip. And you can also massage right along the top of your arm.
Oh, yeah.
And that can, like, there's a spot you'll find it's just like,
Right in here.
ah, my gosh.
Yeah.
I can feel it in my fingertips when I push there.
Same. Yeah, both hands. Yeah, but don't, when you do these, don't force it, right? It's just to kind of massage and be gentle because these muscles are really, really tender and delicate. And you don't want to go and make yourself in more pain just by really attacking them. So just be gentle, stretch, allow yourself to just relax it out and then start, yeah.
I say relax as I dance around.
Relaxing.
Relax.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, Paper Moon, is this the right key, Sam?
Say it's on.
Yeah, I can do this key. We have not rehearsed this, friends, recently.
Recently.
This will be a fairly impromptu performance, but we're
Okay.
gonna do it. Sam
So-
plays good jazz music. He went to school for that.
I really hope I would be able to after that much time studying it, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to play the last line here,
Yeah?
and then I'll give you that
Oh, that's
cue
my
when we
intro.
Jump in. Yeah, and then
Okay.
there's a repeat.
Notice how we're communicating?
Yes, we're talking it down. And so, yeah, so I'll repeat it, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay, we'll just hope that I understand.
This is the intro.
Say it's only a paper moon sailing over a cardboard sea, but it wouldn't be a make-believe if you believed in me. Yes, it's only a canvas sky hanging over a muslin tree, but it wouldn't be a make-believe if you believed in me. Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody playing in a penny arcade. It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't be a make-believe if you believed in me. Take it away, Sam.
Okay. Wasn't expecting that.
Use your technique.
No, I forgot.
It's a
Yeah.
honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played in a penny arcade. It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't be a make-believe if you believed in me. So fun! Oh my gosh!
Oh, goodness.
So practice your technique so you can do that. Head to pianote.com so we can teach you. We want to be your piano teachers. So come join us. We're here to help. We can answer all of your piano questions there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
It's time for second breakfast. So we'll see you guys around.
Later.
Bye.